the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast, and I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. And with me today is my beautiful and talented co-host, Joshua Bevan. Say hello, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, your hand. Mm-hmm. So this morning, Joshua arrives to find me in my driveway putting toothpaste on my headlamps. He's like, she's lost it.
Car's teeth.
Yeah, brushing my cars. He's like, this is it. I need to call for a welfare check. Thank you, Sam's Club, for fucking me over 4 weeks in a row. Poor Joshua was going to be my Uber driver for several of the visits. And then yesterday we did not record because of a neighbor glitch. Joshua was going to be my Uber driver 3 weeks in a row. And, it was like, you have to have 2 days of non-rainy weather to have some sort of coating cure. And it's been kind of rainy here in Southern California, rarely rainy, but kind of rainy. I took it in yesterday with two friends, one dropping me off and one picking me up and or bringing me back. And I paid for it and left. And then they called me and said, yeah, only one of your headlamps is ready to be restored.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, what? And he goes, we can't just charge you for one. Okay. Wow. So I go pick my car up and I'm like trying not to seethe with anger. Mm-hmm. And then I go on YouTube and there's a sweet kid who does a 3-minute video about using toothpaste.
Nice.
So that's why Joshua shows up in my driveway and I'm out in the fucking cold brushing my headlamps with a toothbrush. But they smell minty fresh. Mm-hmm. And
they're nice.
And it's Sensodyne, so it's extra whitening.
Yeah. Well, and your car has sensitive teeth. So
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Something like that. So I wanted to thank Tipster Shireen for tagging me on a missing persons case on Facebook where the young lady's family is looking for exposure for her case. And she's been missing for, I think it's 5 or 6 months now after she went to meet a man in another state that she met online. And then she hasn't been heard from or, heard from or seen. And Shireen is a sweet tipster who tagged me and said, I reached out to several podcasts to have a case covered of someone who meant a lot to me and nobody responded, but just the tipsters. So
wow.
Those are the kind of things that keep me going on the days when I don't want to keep going, which are way too many days where I don't want to keep going. Also wanted to let you know, Joshua, Matthew said that if we go to New Jersey for the walking tour of the Hall Mills murders and we don't stop in Pennsylvania to see him, he will quit.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So, yeah, he says he has...
Are those close? I don't know geography.
I think they might be touching, but I don't know.
Okay. Is that one of the tri-states?
No, that's Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana.
Nice.
I'm just kidding.
Well
There's
done.
tri-states all over. That's just the one I know of where I came from. But yeah, I guess it's close. I mean, I guess, New Brunswick, New Jersey is close to wherever Pennsylvania Matthew lives. I
don't even know what city he's in.
I do because I have his address, but I didn't want to say it out loud like I did Moon Unit Zappa's address last week. So I didn't want to get because Matthew has a lot of fans. I don't want them showing up at his house.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we don't want that. He said he has a lot of space for guests.
Like a couch?
Yes, it looks like a very roomy couch.
So we could
it's an L shape.
We can share Matthew's couch.
I was he said I have space and I go, is that a guest room or guest rooms? Like, is it, do we have twin beds? Like Desi and Lucy, and we have to keep 1 foot on the floor. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, so like in the 50s or 60s, I can't remember. I don't remember when the show was actually filmed. Like decency laws and television.
Standards and practices.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You had, if you were in your bedroom, and Lucy and Desi slept in twin beds.
Okay, right.
And you had to keep 1 foot on the floor.
So you could sit on the bed, but
yes. 1 foot had to be on the floor.
Wow. Okay.
Like you couldn't fucking spread your legs and have them come at you from the side. I mean, I don't know. I've heard. I don't know.
Whole different thing. Yeah, and they pushed. I mean, Desi and Lucy pushed those open standards.
Yeah, to open things up. Wasn't he the one that developed the 3-camera?
Yes, that's.
I mean, what a brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many things that Desi Arnaz is responsible for. Television, huge television breakthroughs. Right. Yeah, for sure.
You're probably too young to remember, but I remember reading about the Desi and Lucy thing, and like you also are way too young to remember Harry and Ozzie and Harriet, which I'm too young to remember that too. But I do remember in like the 60s and 70s, which I don't really remember TV from the 60s, but from the 70s, you know, things like everybody had to be wearing full ass pajamas and robes and shit like that. And then like maybe it's the 80s or maybe it's the early 90s. I can't remember when NYPD Blue was on the air, but, you know, then seeing, you know, Andy Sipowicz ass in the shower.
Oh,
that was a big deal.
Okay.
Because it was network TV.
Huh.
By then cable was kind of going.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do remember a friend in college, because I need to take one more tangent. Her mom would not let her get Cinemax because she thought it was Cinema X.
Cinema X.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Cinemax.
I remember in college watching some Skinemax, like late night Cinemax stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But you could find that on HBO.
Right.
Or Showtime.
Sure.
Or your phone. Or in your brain. Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Lots of stuff happens in my brain.
I don't know how the hell we got here. Okay. So I guess we have to talk about this. About Alec Baldwin being charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah. Well, everybody was, right? That like up the line, or no? Tell me.
I actually have
tell me the thing, because I didn't hear the full story.
I will. I'll get to there. Simmer down. Okay. So some legal experts have said that delaying charges the way they have could be a legal strategy to get the defendants to admit guilt and then give them a lighter sentence.
Oh, okay.
You know, because it's been about a year and a half now. Yeah. This is, I think you get your best legal advice from Mickey Rourke. So
for sure.
What he said on Instagram was, I usually never put my 2 cents in about what happens on someone's movie set. It's a terrible tragedy what happened to cinematographer, I don't even know how to say her name, Halnya Hutchins. But no way in hell actor Baldwin should be charged with any negligence whatsoever. Most actors don't know anything about guns, especially if they didn't grow up around them. Alec didn't bring the gun to the set from his house or his car. When weapons are involved on a movie set, the guns are supposed to be handled only by the weapon armor. In some cases, the first AD might pass a gun to an actor, but most of the time the gun is handed to the actor directly by the gun armor. Mm-hmm. There's what gun armor's job is on the set, to have an expert around any type of dangerous weapon. The actor then has the option to dry fire the gun to double check. No way in hell should Alec Baldwin be blamed for this unfortunate tragedy. Why the powers to be charging Alec Baldwin with this responsibility is terribly wrong. I'm sure Alec is already suffering enough over what happened, but to lay blame on him is terribly wrong, Mickey Rourke. With my deepest condolences to Halnya Hutchins, to her family and her friends. So I imagine you have some opinions.
Sure.
Tell me what you think.
I agree with that last little bit there. How do you go through the rest of your days when you accidentally shot someone? I mean, he pulled the trigger. He's got enough,
emotional trauma.
Yeah. I mean, he watched it. He was doing he was actually, and he was in character, I'm guessing, at the moment. So it was some sort of like malicious whatever scene where he's firing at, whatever other character or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I feel for the dude. He's got a lot of trauma. I don't know about the charges. I have no idea. I wasn't there. I think things should go right, and sometimes they go wrong. I think it's amazing that they've gone right for so long, that one accident like this is huge for a year and a half later.
Right.
I mean, 100 years ago when, cinema's just kind of starting, people are dying all the time.
Right.
People are getting killed, on a weekly basis, accidentally, obviously. Right. But we're talking about
100 years,
100 years worth of growth to where this one
several
tragedy
checks
happens.
And balances,
and that's amazing.
Right, it should be a gun armor on set. The first AD checking it first. I do know at one point, everyone on the set heard whoever handed him the gun, cold gun, which means it should just have what are they called? Not real.
Blanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blank. I don't know a lot. Can you tell I don't know a lot about weapons?
Sure.
But I mean, just in, I don't know how long it's been, the last 20, 30 years. John Eric Hexum put a gun to his head, and, he was I think he was on a film set or a TV set. I can't remember, but he did it accidentally. He thought it was blanks. And then there's the big famous case of Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee was, I mean,
this isn't brand new.
And the fact that we can name a handful in the last 20 whatever years, they're on their way, and okay, let's up the checks a little more.
Right.
And let's look at this system.
Right.
Obviously, there's some holes in the system still.
Apparently. And look, I know, and you probably know too, working in the industry. I worked for an independent film company, Lumiere Films. They did Leaving Las Vegas, Fresh, Touch, some well-respected films. None of them involved a gun. But, they were low-budget independent films. Not low-budget, I shouldn't say that. They were independent films. It was not backed by a studio. I'm sure all the checks and balances were done at that time in the 90s, but late 90s, early, 2000. But, the fact that nobody got hurt is probably a miracle, even though there wasn't a dangerous weapon. There's always weird shit that goes on, even just equipment.
Absolutely.
A dolly or something can kill someone.
Absolutely.
So here's some of the charges. Hannah Gutierrez Reed is, I guess, the armorer.
Okay.
She filed a lawsuit against the prop supplier PDQ Arm and Prop LLC in January of 2022, saying the company caused Hutchins' death by providing a box to the set that contained live ammunition mixed with dummy rounds.
Oh, no.
So the owner of PDQ Arm and Prop LLC, Seth Kenny, denied that there were any live rounds that could have come from his company. And that was in an interview on Good Morning America in December of 2021. And then a month later, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, files a suit against them. So you said everybody was charged with involuntary manslaughter, and you're close. Alec and the armorer, and this is from the movie Rust. I'm sure most people know, but just in case you don't know, Hannah Gutierrez Reed and Alec Baldwin were both charged with involuntary manslaughter. The movie's director, David Halls, was charged with negligent use of a deadly weapon and chose to plead guilty in an agreement with the DA's office. He will be given a suspended sentence and 6 months of probation.
Wow.
My opinion is, I agree with you, Joshua, that something needs to change. If I'm going to place blame anywhere, if I only have to pick one, I'm going to place it on Hannah Gutierrez Reed.
Sure.
Apparently, she's the daughter of an armorer who was a pretty big deal, in the industry.
Okay.
So they were calling her like a nepo baby, like nepotism baby.
Yeah.
She hadn't worked on a lot of films, and a small budget film like that, you get someone who's cheaper.
Sure.
And you hope that if they're from a lineage of people who do this,
they knew they did. Yeah.
So I would have to blame her. I don't know that involuntary manslaughter should be her charge. It should be maybe negligent use of a weapon, or, I know falling down on your job is not good enough when someone dies and another person gets very injured, but I don't feel like Alec Baldwin should be charged. If anything, negligent use of a weapon, if anything, and like the director, David Halls, probation.
Sure.
That keeps you reminded of what happened.
Okay.
But I feel like involuntary manslaughter is kind of ridiculous. When Daniel Sarazan got voluntary manslaughter for killing his uncle.
Right.
How are those two things?
No, these guys are trying to make art. Like they're
none of this was on purpose.
They're not purposely doing it. It was all accidental. I mean,
right.
Unless there's stuff that we don't know about, which is obviously,
a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I mean, it's possible. Was somebody trying to, take somebody out because of something? No. I don't think so, but sure, investigate it. Fine.
Right. And then find that no one was trying to kill Miss Hutchins.
Right. Like
that she was beloved on the set.
Yeah. And then it's an accident.
And there's many hands. I'm sure everyone feels bad. If you were, operating the craft service table
Oh, yeah.
When anyone gets injured on something, a project you work on, injured or killed, there's so many hands that the gun has to go through. And I mean, Mickey Rourke, God bless him, as much as it was a little bit badly constructed, his paragraph, in his heart, he knew what he was trying to say, and he was trying to support his friend Alec, and also the art of making a film that the person's job on the set is the armorer.
It's right. Absolutely.
That is their job. So, and you can absolutely, when you get a gun, you can try to test fire it just to see,
if that's part of the protocol, okay.
Yeah,
sure,
maybe
but he opted not to or something. I don't know.
It's an option, right?
Yeah.
And maybe now it has to become
they have to fire
a law. Yeah.
Sure. Add it into part of the process that you bring out some sort of, target thing, pillow thing, whatever you shoot into.
Right.
And fire it just to make positive. Sure.
Right. Something like that.
I mean, and especially I think he was firing directly toward the camera, which was
where she was,
which is like, I mean, that's how else do you get that shot? You can't get that shot.
Right.
Digitally, it'll look dumb.
Right. I think the director was actually wounded too.
I think so.
Yeah, even though he was, 6 months suspended sentence and probation.
Yeah, because he was standing right there. Like, I think he was kind of behind her or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, exactly. I think he got wounded, I'm pretty sure. So not that this is like a gun safety podcast, because it's absolutely not. A terrible thing happened up here at 1:30 a.m. on Friday morning at a local club called Mabel's Roadhouse. A sheriff's deputy shot himself in the head in the club. If you have seen the movie Roadhouse, that's where they filmed. Roadhouse is in Mabel's, and it's a what would you call it, Joshua? A dive bar?
Yeah, I'd say dive bar. I mean, it's a fun spot to go.
If you like to people watch, I think it's a fun place to go to people watch. He's smiling. He must have gotten some interesting tales there.
It's very interesting for sure.
That's a good word. Yeah. So I guess they have karaoke on Thursday night, and my friend and her friend were there, and they'd left a couple hours earlier.
Oh, they were there. Wow.
A couple hours before this happened, but one of their friends was still there, and she asked, an uncomfortable question that I'm glad she asked when he was allowed to finally leave, and people were allowed to go back and get their items that had to be left there because of the investigation.
They had, okay.
Like, about midday on Friday, her friend, she talked to her friend and said, was there just like blood everywhere? And he said, no, oddly there wasn't. So he said, I don't believe the gun exited, because if it had, I would have gotten it because I was next to him.
Oh, he was right there?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Wow.
So he's like, no, there wasn't a huge amount. And I'm guessing with a headshot, there would be. But if it doesn't exit.
Did you read the size of the...
I don't think they've released it. I don't know if it was his service weapon.
I mean, because they carry 45s usually, or at least, or at
okay, so
at least a 9mm, I think. I mean, usually sheriff deputies are carrying a large caliber weapon
with those
as their own,
right?
But that doesn't mean he doesn't have something else, a little 22. Right. A smaller bullet might not make it all the way through. I can't imagine a larger caliber bullet at that close range not exiting. But
I can't imagine a 33-year-old off-duty sheriff's deputy shooting himself in a bar. Now, it was like 1:15, so it was not, not a lot of people left.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what had to be going on. The deputy's name is Jonathan Buchan, and he was a 2-time tour of duty Afghan Marine. And had 3.5 years as a sheriff's deputy with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. His father said that he was my hero, and I am just, I can't imagine. He was not, stationed here. He was stationed, I think it was the Century station, but he lived here.
Okay, lived here and worked there.
Because I was thinking, I can't imagine going to Mabel's Roadhouse and doing that. I can't imagine going to Mabel's Roadhouse and seeing that.
Yeah,
I assumed it was in the parking lot. in his car until I heard from, my friend who said, no, he's actually in.
Sure. Well, at first when I read it, I thought it was a deputy that responded to something.
Right. That's kind of how they put it out there.
Got fired upon,
right,
as, in the middle of his service. But
right.
Yeah.
So I want to say that the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is an important resource for those who are having thoughts of suicide or people concerned for a loved one. The Lifeline provides free 24/7 confidential support at 1-800-273-8255. I mean, I can't even imagine what a 33-year-old Marine vet, now sheriff's deputy, was going through, which brings me to something else I want to recommend. And I think Joshua and I are going to have another discussion about this because I suggested it to him and he'd already watched part of it and was like, yeah, I wasn't really into it. So I watched the documentary Stutz this week twice.
Oh, right.
And I didn't know what to expect. It's like an hour and a half long. It's black and white for the most part. And it is a documentary Jonah Hill did on his psychiatrist, Phil Stutz. Phil Stutz is 74 now, and spoiler alert, has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And he is... I guess probably pretty well respected in the field, because after I watched it the first time on Sunday, I had my grief counseling appointment, my regular weekly grief counseling appointment I've had since Mark died, on Tuesday night. And I asked my therapist, who's not a psychiatrist, but, if she knew Phil Stutz, and she said, oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, okay. Good. And I said, I just watched the documentary. And she said, yeah. What did you think? And I will tell you, I don't typically take notes. I took 2 pages of notes on a legal pad.
Cool.
Because it was things I wanted to remember. Yeah. And then I watched it again on Wednesday.
Oh, good.
And I'll probably watch it again. And not so much to take more notes, but to see the beauty of it. Did you get around to watching the rest of it?
I haven't yet. No,
I'll be interested to hear. You said you started it, and I'm trying to remember what you said.
So I started it, and I see, I got... half an hour in or something, and I see Phil Stutz' system that he's created. I mean, it's brilliant. He's got this whole idea for healing. How a system that a therapist can use with a patient or a person can use with their own self. It's brilliant. It's brilliant content. I had to stop specifically because I have misread Jonah Hill in general as a person. He's a lot more in his ego than I imagined him to be. And partway through that shift bothered me. The idea that I misread him bothered me. So I had to stop, and I'll start again without that. Like, it was my stuff in going, oh man, how could you miss that? Like that was it bothers me when I misread people. And
you said that, and I'm still kind of trying to figure that out, because I think you're probably a pretty good reader of people. And I don't understand anything that you just said.
Sure.
Jonah Hill and his ego?
He's got some stuff to heal that he is really good at hiding. I mean, obviously when he's creating art, like I'm looking at the artist, and he's a brilliant actor. I mean, I very much enjoy his artwork, and when I'm enjoying somebody's artwork, I don't necessarily care about the person.
Sure.
But when the documentary started, I was like, I had one view of him and then went, dude, you're wrong. Like that was not who this person is. So to follow him as a narrator, I misread the narrator, so I have to start over for my own view, like, because that bothered me. Like I would have held on to that and missed more of Phil Stutz' stuff, which was really good stuff. And I'm not getting this. Stop, and I'll get back to it.
I think what you said was really fascinating and a much bigger clue into you than him.
Oh, it's me. Oh no, it's me. It's for sure me.
Because what I texted you was, have you seen Stutz? Jonah Hill reminds me a lot of you. And I or I think I said, I see a lot of him in you, or you in him,
Sure.
or something. And I was shocked at your response, because I thought you would love it. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what you've said, your reasoning. Jonah Hill is a remarkably talented person who is seamlessly goes between comedy and drama.
Oh, totally.
And where do you think that comes from?
Where does his acting abilities, where does his chameleon abilities come from?
Kind of art come from? Pain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
So what did you misjudge?
Because I didn't account for that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand.
I didn't account for his chameleon abilities in this real life scenario that's not really real life, because it still is a movie.
It's pretty real.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that I was like, oh,
It's pretty real.
I'm saying it's me, like it's my own bullshit,
bias.
My own bullshit trauma, whatever shit that I want. I am really good at reading people.
You are.
And then when I miss it, I get really hard on myself for missing them, for misreading.
I don't think you misread them, but if you think you did, that's obviously, how you feel, and that's important. I don't think you misread them at all. I think you probably have a lot more in common with them than you know. Maybe watching the rest of the.
Sure, and I'm super interested in looking at it from that perspective. Yeah. You as my friend saying, "Oh, you guys share this a lot," and I'll be like, "Oh, what else is this going to reveal about me as I go through?" I
don't know that you'll think it will reveal things about you. What I think you might see is you might recognize a comrade. I think you have much better coping skills and tools. I guess he found them when he was supposed to, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And he went into therapy after the loss of a family member. Yeah. And I think he works very hard to this day, which is one of the concepts of Phil Stutz. There's just going to always be constant work.
Right.
And I think you have worked really hard and continue to work to this day.
Totally.
I think the difference is you look forward to the work and you embrace it. And I think Jonah has a hard time.
Oh, sure.
And I understand.
I see that.
I'm Jonah.
Yeah.
I'm not you, I'm Jonah. And I wish I envy people who, we talked about this jokingly. You see the glass half full. I see it half empty, and it's also filled with arsenic. So, I envy people who see it half full. I said to someone this week, I envy your faith. And I know I have faith in certain things, and trying to have faith in myself, I have faith in other people. But I do envy it, because I feel like I lose it a lot. And maybe it's me relating to Jonah Hill.
Sure.
But I think it's brilliant. And if you suffer with any sort of mental health issues, it dawned on me.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's a great comment, because everyone I know is suffering or plagued or troubled by something. And maybe it depends on where you're from in the country. I know where I grew up, if you went to therapy, you were probably pulling your hair out or attempted to kill a family member.
Sure, yeah.
You didn't go for the things that got you to that before that.
Right.
There was no, preemptive strike. It was,
no.
He had to be carried out with a very jacket with long arms tied in the back.
Yeah.
And given a bunch of meds that made him stupid. So, yeah, I'm a big proponent of therapy. I'm also a huge proponent in finding someone who works for you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a psychiatrist. It can be a psychologist. It can be a social worker therapist. I found my amazing grief counselor through a yoga teacher who's a social worker therapist. And I knew I couldn't go to see her because it would be a conflict of interest, because she's my friend.
Right.
But I knew I could not get through Mark Humphrey's death without help. And it's not fair to your friends, because they're not, licensed therapists. And if they are, they can't treat you.
Sure.
So it dawned on me that we more easily talk about cancer and AIDS and death than we do mental health.
Absolutely.
And that is a real big piece of shit right there.
Yeah.
That is overwhelming to me. I guess I just never felt ashamed if I needed to get help.
Right.
I will tell you, finding a good person who resonates with you is very important.
Absolutely.
Mark Humphreys and I went to a marriage counselor one time after we'd been married a couple of years, and she was older and was eating a white Certs, and she had on a black turtleneck sweater. And I don't know if her dentures were loose or what, but she kept spitting tiny little pieces of white Certs onto her shirt, and I just kept watching them with my eyes.
Yeah.
And Mark talked most of the session, which I'm sure probably shocks most of you, but I didn't really get a whole lot of words in edgewise. And then we left, and I kind of left like shell-shocked, and we're in the parking lot, and Mark turned me around and grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me and said, "Let's never do that again." Yes. And we stood in the parking lot and hugged for about 5 minutes, and then we went home and never went to marriage counseling again.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We each had gone to our separate counseling over the years, but just for short periods of time. And it wasn't so much to do with our relationship. It was just to do the stuff we were dealing with.
Right.
But yeah, that was my experience with marriage counseling. Didn't go so great, but I have had over the years 2 women who've helped me a lot. One was, back in the 2000s, and one is my grief counselor now, Karen. So finding the right person is important. And I know this isn't a commercial for mental health, but I just felt like I had to talk about it, especially since we lost the deputy.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I just have so many friends now who it's sort of shitty to say this. I'm just going to say this in the shittiest way I can. People give me some grace because my husband died in my driveway suddenly, and I'm traumatized. You don't have to have that to go to a therapist.
No, totally.
It can be because you've had a shitty Monday.
Right.
I mean, that's probably not your first, and it won't be your last. So consider getting someone professional to talk to.
Right.
I don't mind talking about going, and maybe I have that umbrella of traumatic loss that I hide under, but I talk about it. And now, because I'm talking about it, 3/4 of my friends are saying, yeah, I go to therapy too. And I'm like,
yeah.
Wonder why you didn't tell me that before. I wouldn't have judged you. I would have been proud of you.
Right.
I did balk at times when I heard people say it takes more courage to get help than to not. And I was like, no, you have to fucking take care of it on your own. You have to be strong and take care of it on your own. And that was that's absolutely about me and no one else. It does take a lot of courage to know you need to reach out for help. I didn't have courage when Mark Humphreys died. I knew I wouldn't survive if I didn't get help. I would not have survived the loss of him. So I had to get professional help. Yeah. So I just hope people don't not get help.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? Besides the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which you can find their website and we have their phone number, you can also email us. I just want you to feel like you can email us. You can call us. You can leave a message on our social media. Like Tipster Shireen, who said, I'm tagging Melissa because she's the only person that covered my loved one's case. Yeah. That's a form of asking for help. That takes courage. And I was so honored that she tagged me in the post because I did not know that she had asked several people to cover the case. I didn't know I was the only one, and I was honored to do so. So this is the important part of the podcast. I was watching a TikTok video where a young man said that, why would you eat Pop-Tarts anymore when you have toaster strudel?
What? Toaster strudel is better than Pop-Tarts?
In his mind.
I don't know there, bud.
Right. Right. I'm so glad you agree with me. I had not had toaster strudel in 20, 30 years. I go to the store and buy some.
Because of this TikTok?
Yes, because of the TikTok. I thought, what am I missing? What am I missing? Sure. I bought 2 boxes. I bought strawberry and like strawberry cream cheese or something.
It sounds amazing.
They're pretty, they're okay. But I'm pissed and frustrated and disappointed in the quality of the packaging for the strudel because it never looks like the box. It looks like toaster bukkake. Mine never looks like strudel.
Wait a second. But don't you apply the strudel yourself? Like, isn't it like a tube?
It's not a tube, it's a packet. And it's made with... Fuck you. Fuck you, Joshua. I can't believe you said that. How dare you? How dare you blame... I know a poor musician blames their instrument. I get that. However, the packaging for the toaster strudel is so thin. Do you remember when they started making water bottles thinner and you couldn't touch them without
Yeah.
Okay. So the to save the environment, the packaging for the strudel is so fucking thin, you can't tear it open without tearing open the whole side.
Oh yeah.
So instead of the little part at the top that would, help you like put it on and make it look cute. And I get it. It all melts. It all looks the same after a while, but I want it to look cute for a minute. And I'm like, this is motherfucking bukkake. Now my only problem is it called toaster bukkake or bukkake strudel? What goes first?
Oh, man. And I think no matter which way you go, Matt is going to have a problem with it.
He is. He's going to blame me for this. He's going to blame me for this. I know he's going to, whatever I say, he's going to say it should be something different.
I can't believe you missed the...
Yeah, I can't believe you missed the rhyming bukkake shmukake. I don't know what he's going to say. But so anyway, how are your balls?
Oh, boy. Oh, wow.
Ka-ching!
Right. Oh, man. I can't even.
I gotcha!
Well, not just my balls, Melissa, but
your beard.
Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products.
Yay!
That's right. They're once again revolutionizing men's grooming with a brand new Beard Hedger Pro kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and entering the code JustTheTip for 20% off and free shipping.
Did you ever in your life think you would hear a man be described as having drapes that match the carpet?
Match the carpet. Okay.
I did not know. That's how ingenious I think Manscaped is. They really do have the most brilliant marketing.
So good.
I mean, man. Wow. Didn't they say, they used to say like from nose to nuts, which I thought was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But as a man, having your drapes match the carpet that's pretty fucking genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least in sculpture, like how they may not match color wise or, because your beard maybe gets more sun or maybe you lay out, naked with your.
And face my butthole to the
sun. Yeah. To energize your body, open and spread your butt cheeks. And I'm not ever going to get that out of my head. But I've stumped a few gentlemen in my life when I say the drapes don't match the carpet because I have hardwood floors.
I like it.
And they're like, I don't know what you mean. And I say,
and you never will.
That's right. But now you know you're never going to know because you're fucking stupid. No. What I say is there is no carpet. I have hardwood floors. And they go, oh, and they get it. And one person said, do you know why they call it a Brazilian? And I said, no. And he goes, because every day's a fiesta.
Boy.
And that person is a detective. So anyway.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Manscaped.
Yeah. Thank you, Manscaped. 20% off and free worldwide shipping at manscaped.com.
Just the tip.
Just the
tip is the code to enter at manscaped.com.
There could never be a better podcast.
Oh, man.
Or promo code.
So good.
Yeah, than us, I think.
So good. Oh, my God.
So no transition at all.
Yeah.
Abrupt left turn. And more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.